From Santa Barbara, California, the Timeless Voyager series, where the knowledge is timeless and you are the Voyager. Fasten your cosmic seatbelts and join me, your host, Bruce Stephen Holmes, the Timeless Voyager.
And pieces of equipment I've used over the years has been a number of people I've had the pleasure of working with, within this field, and all of those things that I've learned, testing equipment, using other people's equipment. I combined all of those ideas and all that I've learned, in a sense, and incorporated them into an app. And I worked with a friend of mine, a developer friend of mine, for months. And every night we would sit on the phone and he would sit on his computer and he'd be coding in lines of code. And I'd be on the phone with him and I'd say, well, let's do this and let's incorporate this. And he'd say, well, I'm going to try to make that happen. And, together we worked for months and we created this online version first. Before there was anything on the phones or any devices, we created an online version. You go to my website and you would use this program, and it had the ability to warp sound, creating a raw sound for spirit, for soul to use and form their own responses. It has the ability to record within the app, and you can record your responses to them and go back and listen and try to understand what's being said if you don't hear it in real time. And so I let people try it, I think it was like over 20,000 people were testing the app when I was releasing the beta version for free. And messages were coming in going, this is one of the most amazing things I've ever used. I'm getting instant responses. I'm getting clear responses. And so I went on to create a free version for iOS and Android. And so the Hope Spirit Box app is free on iOS and Android. You can download it. And use it on your phone, and it's just amazing. Now I'm bringing back that online version, so kind of use that as the beta version at first, and saw that it was good, put it on the phones for free. Now I'm bringing back up that version, but a new improved version of it, I guess, and it's a pro version, so it will cost some money. It'll be like, I think, around $5 a month. People will be able to access this, and it's just gotten even better. That's all I could say. I've been testing with it for the last couple of weeks again, and it's just amazing. And so yeah, it's really an all-in-one tool. People do not need to have. Eventually, people will not need to have voice recorders and big boxes like I have. There's. Let me see if I can turn myself here. No, wait, I'm like backwards here. No, I'm like all turned around here. I'm trying to show you my box right there. There it is. Okay. I'm like, I can't. Anyway, that's my spirit box that I use. It's a physical box that I use, and it's a guitar amp with a couple pedals and different things, and it warps the sound. And I'll explain that really quickly to you guys because that's important. So you've got EVP, which is electronic voice phenomenon, which you talked about. That's just, taking a regular basic voice recorder, and there's no ghost gear or equipment with it. It's just using a voice recorder and asking questions, and the spirit imprinting their energy onto the recorder, and it sounds like a whisper. It's like a whisper, and those are really amazing pieces of evidence. But then there's the spirit box, in the spirit box, people, first you've got people like Thomas Edison, Nikola Tesla, Konstantin Radovan, Frederick Jurgensen. Some of those names are well known, some are not so well known, but those are like the forefathers, the godfathers of ITC, instrumental transcommunication. So Thomas Edison was one that was working on an apparatus to try and speak with the other side, and he was fairly convinced that he was doing so at times. And so, then there was a guy named Frank Sumption in early 2000 that started working on radio-based spirit boxes. And the way that he created these boxes were he would take a radio and he would hack it. And instead of it being it was a tuner radio that you would just use the dial to turn to a new station, just like an old radio. But he would hack the tuner, and he would have the tuner automatically seeking on its own without you having to tune the dial. And so this thing you turn it on and it would scan over radio stations at a very fast rate. Now, what would happen then would be that little bits of sound would start to bleed through as the thing was skipping. So you'd hear this, you know what I'm saying? You kind of hear that skipping of radio stations. And you'd start to hear when someone would focus and ask questions, you would start to get 1 or 2 word responses very quickly. Sometimes those responses would be very direct responses to something you were saying or asking. Traditional ghost hunters, paranormal hunters, whatever investigators would think that, or would state that they think that the spirit using that spirit box would pluck a word from a broadcast and use it as the response. What I found through my research was that they weren't using or plucking a whole word necessarily. They were taking the bits and pieces of the sounds of the words they were not whole, fragmented pieces of sound, and they were using it to form their own responses with. Okay, so they're taking the bits and pieces and they were forming their own responses. So that led me to start testing with sound in a way that moving away from a radio and creating a word bank, a sound bank, I should say, not a word bank, no words, a sound bank of no words. It would just be human speech that would be reversed, slowed down, and chopped up into small increments and rearranged. So you would have a 3-minute, 4-minute MP3 track of just gibberish. And it would just be like, you get a lot of goobly gop, just gibberish. And so there's not a word in the sound bank, right? And then I would take that sound bank and I would feed that through that box back there, where I would then add the effect of reverb, which is echo. And the echo, the reverb, would elongate that sound, and it would create deeper sound waves, longer sound waves. And the spirit, the soul, would be able to take that longer sound wave of complete gibberish and form their own response. And that's what we started doing. And I started doing that, and I would get these very clear, direct responses of a word, a phrase that was nowhere in that sound bank. So we knew that we were capturing something that was not there. We knew someone was using it, interacting with us. And so that was really amazing. And that's where we are now. So the app has a number of different sound banks that are all gibberish, no words. And there's an older man, an older woman, a young man, a young woman, a middle-aged man. And so there's sounds that are similar, that you can say, okay, I'm going to ask to speak to my loved one. I don't know if my loved one's going to come through, but I'm going to intuitively focus. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to just focus on them, and I'm going to invite them to come in. Hold on. I'm going to invite them to come in, and I'm going to turn on a sound bank that sounds similar to what they may have sounded like. And I'm going to give them that opportunity to use that. And it's very rare that when someone does exactly what I'm advising them to do, using the meditation, using the app the proper way, it's very rare if someone doesn't come through for them. Even if it's just one response, I love you, I miss you, hello. None of that stuff are in any of the sound banks, so you know that it's coming through. So people everyday people, regular people that haven't been doing this, or have never done this before, are downloading the app and using it, trying the meditation and getting, I mean, they're messaging me going, I can't believe it. I heard my mom's voice. I heard my dad's voice. I heard them say this. They answered me. They said my name. They said his name. There's direct responses. So that's happening all the time. And so that's what the app is for. And it's revolutionizing ITC, I believe.
Let's look at a couple examples. You showed me your TikTok
Right.
page, and there were many, many, many examples. I picked out some just for the fact that they were celebrities that people would know about.
Sure.
How about if we look at this one from Marilyn Monroe? She's very
Sure.
much in the news with the movie and everything.
Yes, let's look at the
I'm going to just try a couple things with you, and I see you sitting there at the table. How are you doing on the other side? Hold on. How about now? It really feels like you wanted to come through and you wanted this honor. You know that I maybe are doing these types of sessions, and of course that you can see that Deborah's a very powerful medium psychic. She's, is there anything that you want to share with us? Marilyn, but what is the most important thing that you want to say today on your own?
Yeah. And that's really amazing. So what I did was I took, well, first, let me just kind of, touch on that, because that was really interesting. First, that's my teacher, Deborah Lynn Katz, PhD, an amazing woman that really taught me a lot about how to intuitively connect. I already had the ability that was coming about at a certain age. And so I started working with this woman who has the International School of Clairvoyance. She's just, as I said, an amazing woman. And I became one of her all-star, I became a good student of hers, 10 years later almost. And now her and I were about to teach a master class together. So we were getting ready to teach a master class of how to do this and all the stuff that we do. And she said to me, she goes, Josh, I had a dream. I was getting ready to go to sleep the other night, and I had a spirit guide come to me and say that Marilyn would like to speak. Marilyn Monroe would like to speak. And she says, I couldn't believe it. I was so tired, though, that I told them I'd love to speak with her, but I can't do it right now. I'm about to fall asleep. So she told me this. And I said, Deborah, that would be a great opportunity to ask for her before the class, in a sense, and ask for her to come through. And so I never really, knew what to expect. But then I got a track of Marilyn's voice. I reversed it, slowed it, chopped it into 2-second increments, rearranged all the, randomly. And you got this voice of Marilyn with no words. And then I asked for her with Debbie on. And we're asking, she says, we get this response, I'm an actor, terrible life. She says, you have to believe in me. Belief is a big deal. They say belief because you got to believe in this for this to work. And I know it's kind of like the Tinkerbell, it's like the more we clap, we believe, then we could fly. It's like, but it's true. It really is absolutely true that you have to believe in what you're doing in order for it to really come to fruition. And so we asked for her, and you hear her. She says, Debbie and Joshua. She says both of our names right then and there. I mean, pretty undeniable stuff, and so I did multiple sessions after that first initial reaching out to her. And it was one of the most powerful connections that I've ever had with a spirit, with a soul. I did multiple sessions with her, and she expressed that she was okay, but that she wanted the light more. She wanted to feel the light more. She was still feeling like something was missing. And I asked her, I said, how after all this time, 60 years, could it be that you're still looking? And she says, it hasn't felt that long. And she said something, she alluded to the fact that she just started feeling that way or something. So, time is relative. And so it may have not felt like 60 years to her on the other side, but to us it does. So that was a really powerful. I have a really great connection. I have this, I've always grown up looking at her as an icon and posters on the walls and on bottles of wine and things of that nature, but never really knowing the personal nature of this person. But I got to feel that personal nature. I got to feel her personality when reaching out to her. And people could say, how do you know it's really Marilyn? Oh, come on. Why would she talk to you? You're a guy in South Florida in your office and stuff. And I'd say, I don't blame you. I totally get that type of skepticism, right? That's why I don't say, I know for a fact it's Marilyn. I can't say that, right? As an investigator, as a researcher, I can't say that. I have my beliefs. I have my feelings. And so I share what I get. It's up to you to watch and make the determination on your own. I'm not shoving anything down anyone's throat, but everything I show you is 100% real. It's absolutely what I captured. And I put the captions on what I feel I'm hearing. And it's up to you to say, hey, I don't hear that. Or I do hear exactly what you tagged. And that's amazing, So that's how it is for people. They can take it or leave it, accept it or not. It's okay. But when you kind of don't intellectualize it too much and just go into it and kind of go with your gut, your intuition, you'll feel that there's something to this. You'll understand something, that there's something that, you just have to watch it and see it.
Before we go to, I was picking out some different people, but let's look at and then talk about the orbs.
Yes. So in addition to capturing amazing audible evidence that I'm capturing visual evidence. I'm capturing visual evidence on a regular basis. And not only am I capturing, I do a lot of work in capturing spirit photography, faces and things of that nature. I can ask for them to show themselves a lot of times. And I will capture faces in water ITC. I'll capture faces in digital ITC, digital noise. From the cameras that are created, there's kind of like a pixelation. They're able to use that. But one of the greatest ways they show themselves is in orb form.
All right, let's look at that one.
Yeah.
Really awesome. This is a piece of visual evidence, and I've been showing you the orbs that have been moving in and out of my body. They fly around. It's not dust. It's not bugs. It's not water vapor, whatever else. It is real light orbs. They come and enter my body before using the box, and then after I've asked them questions, they leave my body. So they're using me, and it's about the connection. We have to grow our connection in order for these apps and boxes and things to work. You can see this ball of light near my cabinet, near my bookshelf, and you could see it, and it goes right through something physical. It goes right through the shelf. It goes right through the wall of the cabinet. And it's unmistakable. Dust doesn't do that. Bugs don't go through physical objects. Look how great this is.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And you can see it as these trails of light. And some of them are getting, really crazy with how they show themselves. Like they'll come into the frame and they'll just be flashing and going really slow and flashing. Some of them go, some of them are small, some of them are really big. But they make these very independent movements, very intelligent movements, interacting with me. And I believe that's the soul. I believe, I believe there's three bodies, as my guru Paramahansa talks about. There is the physical body, there's the astral body, and then there is the causal body. And the causal body is the spark of light from the divine, which is the orb. And we have seen in hospice videos, people that were passing away on the death rattle, taking the last few breaths, and afterwards a ball of light leaving the top of their head or leaving their body, or a ball of light coming into the room, and then a ball of light leaving their body and going with that ball. So it's almost like a soul comes in to greet them and take them to heaven. So we are seeing that. And so I believe that's what's going on. When you see an orb enter me or enter my box, normally the evidence is the audio evidence is pretty good.
You have an interesting one with John Lennon.
Right. Yeah.
How about now? John, what's something you'd like to say? I have some questions for you. I'm going to give you an opportunity. What's something you want to say right now? must have hope. Let me ask you this. What are you doing on the other side? What are you working on? What are you doing? What are you doing on the other side?
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty amazing that he seems like he's still doing work on the other side, and he's busy. You know, him and George, you know, he says George helps him think still, and they hang out. I mean, how great is this? And this is not just with well-known people. You know, every month I'm reaching deceased loved ones on the other side for people here, for my patrons. I do group sessions for patrons, and you know their loved ones are saying, I'm here with your mom, I'm here with your dad, you know, I'm here with grandpa, and all these other family members. They're saying, I asked if one woman's parents had reunited, and if they were together. They said yes, we share a room with God, they said. I mean, there's some really amazing responses. So, you know, do we meet up on the other side? Yeah, absolutely. And a woman lost her cat. The cat ran out of the house. Indoor cat, never really been out, and got out. And she said, "I just saw your session with the woman in the coma. Do you think that it could work with an animal, or you know?" And I said, "You know, let's try. I mean, that's all you can do is test." So I used my app, and I heard the cat's name is Bodhi, and so I focused on asking for Bodhi, and I got some responses through my app that led me to believe that I might have, I know it sounds wild, but spoken to this, to the essence, the consciousness of this animal. Now, Paramahansa talks about that spirits in animals are the same as spirits in a person, but they just haven't evolved yet to becoming a person yet. So normally, horses, dogs, chimps, apes, those are spirits that are on their last run as an animal, and then they're going to be moving on to a person. That's hard for me to accept. That's hard for me to understand. You know, I do accept that, but that's what he talks about. And now my work is backing that up. I've asked for deceased animals with my app and with my equipment, and intuitively connecting, and I get messages as if they're speaking to me English. So that's very weird, right? That's like crazy to me. And so I said, I'm going to ask for this cat, this woman's cat, even though it's not deceased, even though it is a cat, I'm going to ask. And I get, reached the woods. I felt sick and reached the woods. And so I said to this woman, I said, do you have woods around your house? She says, I'm surrounded by them. And we did this group session asking for other people's loved ones, for everyone. And she wanted to ask for her cat in the group session. And one of my guides said, the cat is coming back tomorrow. And the next day, the cat came back, just as predicted.
Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Bodhi is my friend Holly's cat. Got out. Bodhi, we don't know where you are, and I don't know if you'll be able to use this, but are you still around Holly's house? Are you still around Mommy's house? I know that the connection is not hard to find. I have a good connection with Holly. Bodhi, can you say anything? Okay. Holly, we're going to be asking for a Bodhi Tuva, which is her cat. And I got responses about Bodhi just recently, so that's interesting.
And the next day on Easter, Bodhi came back just as predicted by my guides. He returned. He just walked right in the house.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, because the thing is, we catch this stuff and we catch these responses, but when reality mirrors what we're getting, we know that now there's something to this. It's not just responses. We're actually getting, like, things are happening in this realm, in pertaining to what was captured as responses. So that's powerful.
Let's watch this this last
Okay.
little stream that I picked up from Princess Diana.
Let me ask you this: Do you care about what's going on? Like, do you care now? Even now that you're on the other side, do you care about what happens here? Okay, how about now? Do you care? I'm going to ask you this. Do you approve of the way Meghan Markle and Harry are behaving toward the royal family? Do you approve? Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah. So, I mean, she still has an opinion, a very respectful but a very honest one from the other side.